Greetings and welcome to you. I am Shoshana, and this is another Indigenous Oracle reading. Today we're going to be working on Native American astrology. So as you already know, I am fascinated by all types of astrology, whether that is Western, Chinese, Indian, Vedic. And today we're going to be doing a Native American. So what sign are you? What sign are you? So you don't have to Google it. I'll let you know right now. So I have no idea what sign I am going to begin with. I really don't. So it's been a really long time since I've done Native American astrology. I really love learning about all different kinds of systems. Not all of them are positive. There are some that are negative, but it's so important to evaluate different types of systems so what we can gather the positive attributes that can affect us positively in our lives, and astrology is one of those things where some people believe in it, some people don't. Whether or not you believe or support astrology in any way, it doesn't matter to me, because I simply use the birthday, the approximate birthday, to separate the groups to make more efficient collective group videos as opposed to one big collective group. I like using astrology as a tool to separate the groups for the collective group readings. So another thing that I wanted to note is the dates are never exact. Astrology has come a long way and has changed and been modified, as well as the dates and the times. The timelines have been manipulated severely by CERN. CERN has been manipulating the time, so it's very important to put yourself on the correct timeline. So there's never going to be an exact date. So for example, if you are supposed to be a beaver in Native American astrology, but you feel more like a deer, and the dates are just a couple days off, then there's nothing wrong with identifying yourself more as a certain sign or another. Western astrology is actually one of my least favorites. It's actually not my favorite at all. It's the astrology that I don't really like, because they remove the 13th sign and they say that the 13th sign is a new discovered sign, and it's actually not a new discovered sign. It's pretty ancient. So when it comes to looking at the dates, it's okay if the dates are a little off, okay? So I'm just going to start off with the first one on the wheel, and we have the otter. So the otter, let's start with my favorite, the otter. In different types of astrology systems, I just have certain favorites that I just love their characteristics. And the otter is my favorite, and that is the Aquarius. So if you are an Aquarius, I'm not going to go over the dates because they don't really matter. I'm just going to tell you straight up. If you are an Aquarius, you are an otter. If you are a Pisces, you are a wolf. If you are an Aries, you are a falcon or a hawk. If you are a Taurus, you are a beaver. If you are a Gemini, you are a deer or an elk. Through the years and generations, thousands of years, the dates have changed, and the symbols or characteristics or little details here and there have changed, but for the most part, I try to get the best average For Cancer, if you are the sign of Cancer, you are a woodpecker. If you are a salmon, you are a Leo. If you are a Leo, you are a salmon. If you are a Virgo, you are a bear. If you are a Libra, you are a raven or a crow, I suppose. If you are a Scorpio, you are a snake in Native American astrology. And the dates for that is October 23 to November 22nd. October 23 to November 22nd is considered the snake in Native American astrology, which I find fascinating because of the Ophiuchus sign in the original 13 sign astrology. So even though the dates are not the same for Ophiuchus, they're still in a similar corner. And then we have Sagittarius. If you're a Sagittarius, you are an owl. And if you are a Capricorn, you are a goose. And the dates for Sagittarius are November 23 to December 21. And for the goose is December 22 to January 19. And the reason I mention that is because of the Ophiuchus 13 sign difference. So if you study Ophiuchus astrology, you will see that you are a completely different sign in different systems. And there is Vedic astrology, which I am also fascinated by. Vedic astrology has a very bad reputation, and a lot of people don't like that system. But even though it has a bad reputation, it doesn't take away its validity. And I actually find Vedic astrology to be the most accurate and predictive out of all systems, whether it's positive or not. You know, it is what it is. There are certain things in this life that don't need you to believe in them for them to exist. So, where should we start? Should we start the same way that we started? Okay, let's do Otters. Otters, it would be an honor to start your reading first. So, Otter is my favorite sign in Native American astrology because I just think that this world would be a better place if we had more otters in them, because of your connection to your innocence and your connection to childlike perspectives, childlike mentalities, childlike openness. And that is something that a lot of the other elements and signs lose as they get older. They lose that connection to their youth. You know, you see it all the time. What does these generations do? They want to hurry up and grow up as fast as possible. So let's go ahead and start with Otter. What is the physical work that Otter needs to work on during this time? The physical work, we're going to go all the way through the wheel. And these are going to be speed readings. I'm going to try to keep them at 15 minutes. It's going to be like a game. We're going to see if that really actually does happen. So we have the Tree of Life. So otters, 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 otters. Oh my goodness gracious. You are being targeted at work. You are being targeted in your neighborhood, targeted in your home, targeted everywhere you go, or so you feel. You have to understand that you have this magic about you that people envy, and they give you the evil eye all of the time. And you're constantly having to clear yourself of all of this envy. And this envy makes you feel like you are an alien and you're just surrounded by all these people that treat you different, but you have to understand that there is absolutely nothing wrong with you. It's something that's wrong with them. That your light makes them feel obscured. Your light makes them feel dull and dark and empty, like a cold, clammy clay cave, you know? And there's something very special about otters. And your biggest challenge right now is believing that, because people who give you the evil eye are doing such a good job at making you believe it, and you have to not believe it yourself. So you self-indulge in things that are negative, such as alcohol or other hard drugs, and you're being asked to explore herbs, explore supplements, aromatherapy, seeing a holistic practitioner, or a TCM doctor, because you're not doing anything about it but running away. I'm going to put this back in because I wasn't focused. But if you do want to know, it's sacred songs for those of you who are gospel singers, healing yourself through singing. That's something that I do myself. You can heal various aspects through chanting, and we'll do a video on that later on. I cannot wait. Spiritual work for otters. Spiritual work for otters is to use your intuition. It's like you cannot believe it even when it's right in front of your face. I think that there is a group of people that even told you what they thought about you and why they thought that about you. And it's like you still can't believe it even when people tell you. You are going to have to make a major change in your life, because this change does not necessarily have to be exclusively visually available on the external. It's not, of course, that would be a secondary issue of importance, but your primary issue right now is taking care of your neurological health. If you're not taking care of your neurological health, then you will not progress, and you will feel like you are stuck in a hole that you cannot get out of. I do not believe that financial restrictions, taking action, okay, moving in with the friends, moving in with the friend, moving in with the date, getting grounded, you know, moving in with that person that's always thinking about you. This is not a situation about financial. This isn't like, you can't use finances as an excuse, my dear otters, because you're so clever and resourceful that you can easily find someone that will just offer you a room for free, because you're an otter. If you just socialize more, using the color apricot to rejoice and laugh more. Rejoice and laugh more, Otter. You are very clever and you can get yourself out of that hole. Up next, we have the wolf. What I really like about Native American astrology is incorporating the positive aspects of each animal in your life. Physical work for the wolf. All right, that one flipped over and turned back over. We have 8 directions of the wind protecting yourself. I'm going to take it because I feel like I have to. You are still on your escapades. You're still escaping the primary issue that is an internal closure that needs to happen with something. You know, it's going to vary for all of you, but you keep putting yourself in harm's way. I don't know how to explain it. You have to protect yourself from all 8 directions, and at the same time, you have to listen to what the wind is telling you. You have to be protecting yourself while being quiet and receptive at the same time. Okay? Because there is something that you continue to escape on a day-to-day basis. And I don't want to get all deep with the wolf, but this is something that's been going on for a very, 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 very long time. You wolves are the ones that will string somebody along for 10, 15, 20 years and never get married with them. You know? I'm just saying. I don't know why I wanted to say that. So, the inner work is for you to pay attention to your patterns, paying attention to your triggers, paying attention to the BS that you're believing. And get in touch with your own soul song, your own sacred song. Why are you continuing to be someone you're not, or become someone you're not, or incorporate what you think people expect of you into yourself? And you've done it for so long. You study people and you want to play this role in their life as opposed to playing a role that you choose for yourself. And for the spiritual work, we have, once again, reflecting on all of the lies in your life, reflecting on all of the things that you accepted that you shouldn't have. And it's okay if it goes deep into your past and beyond 10 years. It's important for you to look at something, a lifestyle, so that it's not repeated. Oh my goodness. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I thought that I forgot to do something. So there's a lot of deception around you. Do you see this here? This is you needing to protect yourself from your own triggers, your own escapades. And then we have how many moons? There is so much deception around you. You really have to be careful. Some of you might be targeted, watched, stalked. I don't know what that's about, but let's go ahead and move on. Wolves. A quick way to counteract that, for some reason, I feel like some wolves are having audio interferences where you feel like someone else is tapping in and your thoughts are not your thoughts. Sometimes it helps to count to 5 and then backwards. So you count to 5 and then count 5 backwards. And for some reason, that just kind of interrupts whatever interference is trying to do. And it works. All right, what's going on with ya? Like, seriously. You're all up in your community. You're all up in your community and you're up to no good. You need to have patience and you need to have love and compassion for yourself. You're being too hard on yourself. You know, wanting to mold yourself into something to fit what you think someone expects of you is an unnecessary sacrifice and is self-destructive, you know, and you have to be more patient and loving with yourself to see that what is it about the situation that makes you feel like you have to modify yourself? Where is that influence coming from? And clearing it. Because it's crazy how often you have to clear stuff. You know, you clear one thing and then 2 more things come. You clear 2 things and then 4 things come. Okay? The colors that you need to use more in your life is protecting yourself. My dear wolves, do you see this? I might have to do extended readings here. Protecting yourself. You got a lot of protection requirements and deception shattering that you have to do. Overcoming your challenges using the color plum. This is one of my favorite colors. The color plum is a color that I like using for lasering oncoming attackers. It works really, really well, especially when you mix it with crimson. You add a little crimson up in there and this color clears really well. Okay, let's go up next to Falcon or Hawk. What is the physical work? The physical work that Hawk needs to work on. And then there's also the red-tailed hawk. So this sign also represents specifically the red-tailed hawk, which is one of the most respected colors in Native American culture. So we have the material. So this is about getting rid of things, objects in your house that you no longer need, that you outgrew, that you just find no use for. Getting rid of clutter, reorganizing, remodeling, giving things away, donating things that you just don't have a use for them anymore. That will create more clarity in your life. Going through all those bins, going through all those shelves, going through all those books, getting rid of books that you no longer need. That is the physical work for you. And we have inner work, please. Oh, we got 2 cards. We have emotion. So what is the next thing that you want to manifest? The world is ready for it. There's a time and place for everything, right? And this is the time to manifest your next manifestation. And we have using your intuition. Some of you might be feeling in doubt of what it is that you really want. Is what you want really possible? One thing that I want to say to you, Hawks, is don't settle for less. Don't settle for less. Don't even think about it, because there's going to be so many opportunities in your life where you will be put in a position of, should I take this? Should I take this? Should I take this? In regards to all aspects. Career. Don't choose that which is superficial or materialistic, but choose the one that would actually satisfy you in an intuitive manner. And when this card comes out, it's you are ready to manifest. You know, it's you are ready to manifest whatever it is that you desire. A lot of yellow and red, orange tones in your cards, which is significant for being ready for the next best thing. What do we have for the spiritual work? We have 2 cards once again. We got doubles again. And problems. So whatever problems you are having right now, Hawk, you can't find a solution for them because it's in your face. It's in your face. Your issue is in your face. If anything, you're being blocked from being able to see clearly by your own surroundings, where you live. If there is a dilemma that you can't seem to find a solution to, leave the household, go on a boat ride, go on a hike, and your answer will come there very clearly. But it's not going to come when you're shut away in your home. And then we have the fire card. Ooh. This is about your eternal fire and you being ready to, what's that word I'm looking for? You're ready to live your purpose. There's something that you have been studying or working on. Okay, I need to just scoot this over. There's something that you have been studying or going over or training a very long time, and it's time for you to live your soul's purpose. The soul purpose is not based on material or superficial riches. It's based more on virtue and service. And it seems like you just want to be in a place or position or routine where you can be and provide the best service in the field where you specialize in. We have the powers of your crown being in full force and ready for the next best thing in your life. Wow, Hawks. It doesn't surprise me though, because there's a reason why you are the hawk. Colors that you need to incorporate more in your life during this time. We have coral, allowing flow and synchronicity into your life. And we have revitalizing your nervous system using the color coral and green, more like a lighter lime green. These are two colors that will help you lighten up whenever you're feeling a little gloomy. Revitalizing your nervous system with green. Green is such a wonderful color to use when grounding in the mornings. When grounding in the mornings, it's the second color that I like to use. I like using a golden root to root things down, and then a nice green to enhance self-awareness. During the times that we're in, I feel like it takes such a long time to get grounded sometimes. So don't be surprised, for all signs, if it takes a longer time to get grounded during this time, because we have solar eclipses, and the eclipses are usually associated with curses and opposition and chaos and lunacy, insanity, so don't be surprised if it takes a long time to get grounded for the next 3 weeks, if you don't already feel that way. Next up, we have beavers. Beavers. What is the physical work for you? Another thing that I want everyone to do is to use the positive characteristics of your Native American sign to solve problems in your daily struggles. We have crying for a dream, beavers. So you are not doing well. You are tired of your routine. On some days you wake up and you feel really grateful, but on other days you just feel agonizing pain where you just don't want to continue your same routine. So moving is not an issue, because I feel like a lot of beavers are living in a house that's already paid for. A lot of beavers don't have to worry about rent, and if they do, they can always have this familiar or family owned house that they can go to alleviate any financial restrictions, But with beaver right now, I feel like you will use financial restriction as an excuse. And unfortunately, it's just not one that you can use to explain your divine discontent. Your inner work is working on why you feel alienated. Why do you alienate yourself? What traumas do you have to continue to work through so that you are not alienating yourself or believing that you are so different from the rest? And I understand exactly what that feels like, especially when you are empathic or psychic or a medium and you feel things that other people don't, and feel them immensely, and you just feel like everybody's just completely oblivious. However, there has to be some kind of trauma work that you continue through, because I feel like even if you go to therapy or work on your trauma, I feel like you always end up not going after a certain amount of time. Like, you go for like 2 months and then you just stop. And I really feel that beavers need to work with a therapist or a counselor of some kind that you are seeing every week. Or, well, I mean, once a week I think is pretty good for you, but I just feel like there's so much going on within your interior that needs to be looked at by a professional. You have a lot of fears, and the fears need to be replaced. You need to replace all of your fears with unconditional love for yourself and the situation. There's a lot of hate. There's a lot of self-hate. And another thing that I feel that you are doing is accidentally, subconsciously I'm trying to think of the word to use without giving the word that I want to use any power. You are subconsciously hexing yourself, beavers. Whether you know it or not, you're accidentally, subconsciously, with your own negative thinking. It's like you bind yourself, you block yourself. You are keeping yourself from being happy. You had an opportunity to be happy. You were given an opportunity to be happy at some point, and you rejected a person. Maybe not rejected, but ignored or ghosted. You ignored or ghosted or rejected for some of you. A person for the past couple of years that would help you maintain your happiness, because this is an independent channel. We're not about codependency up in here. However, there's nothing wrong with people helping you maintain a balanced and happy and loving lifestyle. And for the male beavers, to be precise, the male beavers ghosted and ignored somebody that was going to help you maintain your happiness and your balance and your overall well-being. They were going to help you, and you treated them poorly. So because of that, that person moved on. That person moved on and is in a very, very happy relationship with someone else. For the female beavers, I really feel that you need to have a therapist. There's nothing wrong with having a therapist. It's not something that should be looked down on. There's nothing wrong with having a group of people help you with your blind spots and your traumas. And I just feel like you need someone to check in with every week, because you're thinking very negative of yourself, and you really, really need to not believe the negative voices. You know what I mean? For your spiritual advice, we have reflecting all the deception in your life, reflecting on all the things that you thought were true that are not, and remodifying your life accordingly. You need to take action in investing on something that is going to make you happy, okay? So for those beavers that are worried about dying single, it's not happening. It's all in your head. I'm trying to tell you. You keep trying to bind yourself with all this negative thinking. Are you kidding me? A beaver dying single is not happening, okay? Beavers just don't die single because I know that's all you're worried about. When you figure out what's going on with you, you have family. Beavers always have family, a little tribe, a little gang, resources, whatever, that will give you an opportunity. So let's say you're one of those beavers that burned all their bridges, okay? You come up to a family member and you say, you know what? I'm in a rehab program. I'm seeing a therapist once a week. This is their business card. Can you please give me another chance? Can I have $4,000 so I can do this, that, and that? You're really good at that. So make that decision of how you want to modify your life so that it is more up to your par, and invest in it, put your money on it, and take some action, because you can't just sit in a hole and wonder why you're in a hole. You have to take action. Colors. Last but not least, what colors do beavers need to work on? What colors do beavers need to work on more We have tangerine. Be spontaneous and have fun. Absolutely. That's your problem. You're not being spontaneous and you're not having fun. You're like a brick, that's not finding very fun and spontaneous solutions, as well as incorporating more vitamin C and tangerine in your life. Let's move on to our deers. The deer, or also known as the elk. What are you up to? What is the physical work? The physical work that the deer needs to work on. We have the sacred pipe. Okay, deer. Here's the thing. You have been kind of mean lately. You've been a little selfish. And you've just been thinking about yourself a lot. And you see yourself as this authority figure wherever you live. And the problem with that is that there's people that rely on you, that depend on you, that need you to be on the same page, that need you to humble down and cooperate. The people that rely on you, you will be surprised, are older than you. These are elders, older aunties, older brother, and they rely on your cooperation. It's important for you to cooperate in order for there to be harmony in the dynamic that you're in, or in your household, or the relationship that you're in. A lot of times when people don't act like themselves, it's because there's an interference or an entity attachment or a negative influence that is bothering that person that has to be cut. Deers need to humble down and be more of an observer. Observe how people respond and react to you. How do the people, your loved ones around you, how do they respond? How do they react when you act rebellious? Observe how your harmony contributes to your household. So there's a household. This car just climbed out. Oh, now I forgot what I was talking about. Your household is chaotic because of you sometimes, and it's like, if you just sit down and this is what I'm talking about. I feel like the air signs are gonna have like the hardest issue with this eclipse, but it's so important, dear, for you to be grounded. Like, you are one of the signs that need to learn how to be more grounded, because I just see you getting into a lot of trouble, and you needing to just sit down and be more of an observer and observe how your actions affect people around you. Last but not least, we have spiritual advice, and I don't know why this is here, because this is about not trapping yourself in a web of fear. And I think this is a glitch, because you are not in no fear. The deer is so fearless, but you're so fearless that it comes off as inconsiderate. So I'm going to pull another card for you because I don't feel like, I mean, maybe it's for a small group of you, but I just don't feel like that's you. Like you being scared, never. Okay, so new beginnings. Visualizing your new beginnings. That's where you need to spend more energy on. So instead of being rebellious and getting yourself into trouble, focus on manifesting a new beginning for yourself and the household. Because even though you are younger, you have abilities that affect your household. If you don't use them properly, because the thing is, when people have abilities and they don't use them properly, you end up being a dark worker. You know what I mean? It's like you have to be aware of your own energy and your own thoughts, because they affect the people around you. Okay, so continuing on with deer, what else do we got going on? How come you're acting this way? You're acting this way because you don't like where you live. Well, then start doing some energy work and see if you can remove certain blockages, even if they're not immediate, blockages that are kind of slowly unknotting themselves, even if it takes time. So ultimately you will be victorious, dear. So there's no need for you to be rebellious. You're only delaying and postponing your own blessing that way. And come more from your heart as opposed to your mind. Dear, you're doing all these crazy things and you're coming out of your mind, and you have to come more from your heart. I don't know if you see these colors on the camera, but it's like this beautiful pink and lime green. And whenever you talk to people, put your hand on your heart if that helps. Come from the heart instead of the mind. Moving on to woodpeckers. Woodpeckers. What is the physical work for woodpeckers? We have two cards. We got a double for woodpeckers. So we have air. Woodpeckers, you're not getting fresh air. You know, going to the store to buy a drink, going to the gas station to fill up your tank, taking your nephew to get his hair cut is not getting fresh air. Woodpeckers, you are hilarious with what you count as going out. Doing chores and errands does not count as going out. You need to go up to the mountains. You need to go camping. You take your family everywhere you go. So might as well take them with you. Even if I were to tell you to go by yourself, you wouldn't listen anyway. And then we have crying for a dream. Sure, you want a bunch of distractions while you're meditating in the mountains for a vision. Sure, bring your whole family. What is the inner work for woodpeckers? I'm sorry, but if woodpeckers feel confused or you feel like your clarity is obscured, it's because you're never alone. You're never alone. I'm sorry, but it's true. You're never alone. When was the last time that you were alone? You know? And you think that going out to that cabin that you go to is being alone. That's not the same thing. You know? Because that cabin, whatever cabin you go to, you're shut away indoors. And it's like, how does that count as being alone in nature if you're alone in a box? You know, when I say being alone, I mean going out to the park by yourself, going to the beach by yourself, going outside, you know, in nature by yourself. And it just seems like you rarely do that, and then you're surprised because there's no, like, you feel like there's no growth. You know, it's wonderful that you're always involving people, but when you're always involving people, you're never involving one-on-one time with you and God. You know, sometimes it's really hard to hear God's voice when there's a bunch of people in the house. And since there's always people in the house, you gotta leave. You know, go to a park that nobody ever goes to because it's so far away. I'm sorry, where was I? Inner work, we have the intellect. We were just talking about this. This is about being alone in nature, but actually having an interaction with the plants and the animals and source. This is the alone that I'm talking about. Alone in peace with all that is nature and living. Not alone in a cabin. And the spiritual advice is for you to move on to the next chapter. You've been on the same chapter for many years, woodpeckers. You haven't done anything out of the ordinary. You know, if there's a little group of you in here that got rid of everything and moved to another country, good for you. Yeah. But for the majority of you, I feel like you've been on the same chapter for many, many years, and it's time for you to turn the page. What else is going on, woodpeckers? I can't make this up. We got walking away. You have to walk away. Like, we have 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds that are living with their mom. And you wonder why some of you are single. I mean, unfortunately, we're living in times where women have become very superficial and materialistic thanks to social media. And they're not going to settle for someone that lives with their mother. You know? Get yourself a little studio. Get yourself a little studio, woodpeckers. It's not that expensive to get a little studio. That's the easiest thing to obtain, is a little studio. You have a lot of anxiety, woodpeckers. A lot of anxiety. What else do we have? Indecision. Should I go or should I stay? What would balance you the most? If you're a female Cancer, you have someone that's thinking about you. So what is it going to take for Cancers to perhaps move in with their significant other? There are some signs and elements that do very well by themselves. Woodpeckers is not one of them. You're just not. So why not transition from the family house to being with your person and living with them? I think that you would make an amazing spouse. And if you're single, get you a little studio. And if you're already in a little studio, you just have to go out more, even if you have nowhere to go. Just, that's the whole purpose, you know, of going to take yourself out on a picnic. What color do Cancers need to incorporate more in their lives? Whoops. We have watermelon, having fun with your inner child. Okay, this is your skill. Your skill is having fun with your inner child. Incorporating the color watermelon more into your life, enjoying your life more, and not being so serious. You know, just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you have to stay an adult, you know. I'm over 30 years old and I still buy stuffed animals, and I will never stop. Let's move on to our salmon. What are salmons up to? What is the physical work that salmons need to work on during this time? Physical work for salmon. Oh, I always get so happy when I get a visit from my favorite card. This is my favorite card in this entire deck of these beautiful medicine cards. This one right here is my favorite card. This is the mole. Say hello, mole. This is all about you needing to be receptive. When it's gonna rain, a mole knows first. When there's an earthquake, a mole knows first. When a volcano is going to erupt, a mole knows first. A mole is connected to the veins of Mother Earth. What other animal could know more about grounding than a mole? A mole is an expert, a master at grounding, and knows and understands that through grounding and through reception, it flourishes and survives. Salmon, you have been in denial about something for a very long time. And this denial has created a separation amongst your family. And you are not close to certain people that you used to be close to because you lost your sense of reception. And you live a certain way that causes a separation between you and those you really love. There's just a difference of lifestyle that keeps the distance a distance. You have been ready to move on to the next best thing for a very long time. This is all about moving on to the next thing, moving on to the next phase, moving on to the next phase in your life, the next era in your life. You were called to do this a long time ago, and something happened, some kind of loss or some kind of disappointment happened where you kind of gave up and you gave in on your self-destructive habits and your addictions, and you chose them over progression, and you ended up getting stuck. You ended up getting stuck in a lifestyle that is not suitable for where you should be in life by now. So there's a certain habit that you have that you were meant to break a long time ago, but you continue to self-indulge in this self-destructive habit. And this owl is telling you that it's long overdue. It's long overdue for you to detox from something, for you to leave something, for you to fast from something, for you to divorce from someone, if that is the case. You've been ripping yourself off of a blessing that you were meant to have sooner. There's the blessing that you were meant to hold sooner that has to do with a lifestyle that you are meant to be living, and that you knew that you were supposed to be living this lifetime, but for some reason you haven't started. And you're being urged to move on from what that is, and you know what that is. You know exactly what that is. Your abilities that you have are going to be opposed, Salmon. Okay, different signs have different abilities, but you in particular, if you are a Salmon, you have the ability of light. You have the ability of cheer. You walk into a room and everybody wants to see what you're doing because you're lit up with this light that just comes naturally. And everybody looks over and, what is the Salmon doing? Oh, they're just smiling, you know. The Salmon is just smiling, and you can just light up a room from just smiling. So the enemy is going to hate you. The enemy is going to hate your existence. So they are going to make sure that they do whatever they can to keep you at the lowest possible level so that you never progress. Okay? And this is the owl saying you need to put an end to that. What is the spiritual work that Salmon needs to work on during this time? Spiritual work. Oh, 2 cards once again. Protecting yourself from the opposing force, protecting yourself from Satan, and reconnecting with Source, because you've turned your back on Source. And it shows. And if you ever find yourself unhappy, it's because you have disconnected from your higher self and your higher purpose and your soul life purpose. And a lot of you have an entire routine that is based on the complete opposite of your soul life purpose. And that is why you feel unsatisfied even though everything is going well. Once again, Salmon, everything can be looking good on the outside. You got your house, you got your car, you got your horses, you got your castle, you got your career, you got your bank account, but you're not happy, right? That's why. Because our spiritual lifestyle and combination with how we supplement ourselves, how we take care of our neurological health, is ultimately going to determine how we're going to feel. Not so much the circumstances, but what we do in the midst of them. This is about taking a journey This journey, I feel, is a combination of a physical journey as well as an energetic and spiritual journey to a completely different way of living that is going to be activated by going to a different location. Because what I feel with Salmon is I feel that you have lived in the same state for your entire life, and I don't think that you understand how toxic that is in this circumstance. You know, I'm sorry, it's just what I get. These are just collective readings, of course. There's certain things that may not resonate, but for the most part, that's just how I feel. Salmon has similarities with ravens. Ravens and salmon and woodpeckers are the three element and signs, the three signs that need to leave a state that they've been in their whole life. You can't expect to grow wiser if you don't move around and travel. You know, and sometimes you'll travel to places that are disappointing. You know, sometimes you travel to places that will be beautiful, but the demeanor of the people is not so much, you know. Let's move on to the color. What color does salmon need to incorporate more in their life? And we have rainbow, connecting to the spirit in nature. This is the color that you need to incorporate more in your life. You have been selling yourself short. Thank you. Next up, we have bear. Bear, 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 bear. What is the physical work that bears need to work on during this time? The physical work that bears need to work on. We have replacing all of your fears. So, for some reason, bears, you have been thinking the worst. You've been thinking the worst case scenario for everything in your life. Where is that coming from? Where is that coming from? There's like this sense of hopelessness where you just feel like things are never going to get better, and it's very silly, okay? It's very, very silly if you're thinking that, because it's all in your noggin. It's not real. Things are going to get better for you. They're just not right now. They don't, like, you're not happy with your routine, but that doesn't mean that things are going to stay that way. You know, things can't suck forever. What goes up has to go down, and what goes down has to go up. You know, it's physics. So if you've been feeling shitty for a long time, there's going to be an end to that. There's going to be a completely new lifestyle that you're going to have in a couple months. Your inner work is about reconnecting with what is sacred to you. What is sacred to you? What is sacred to you? What does that word mean? Do you have an altar at home? Do you have a shelf where you put all the things that you find sacred and high vibrational? It seems like bears have a lot of clutter in their lives. Clutter, clutter, clutter. Everything is clutter. Everything, you treat everything as if it's just a material possession. So even if you have an office or your room, everything is just of equal value in your life. Some of you here might even treat people like they're just people. People are just people, objects are just objects, and that's just the kind of mentality that you have. But it's important for you to honor the difference that there is. There's a difference in objects. So let's say there's a very high vibrational book that you have. You want to put that book in a high place, a high value place. You know, you're not going to want to put a high vibrational book on the floor. You're going to try to put it in a respectable place. So it's very important for you to connect with what you consider sacred, connect with your altar, spending time with some kind of altar. An example of things that you might want to have on an altar is a Bible, you know, depending on what religion you are. You might want to put your Bible on an altar and just spend more time with your spiritual body as opposed to self-gratification of an external body. You know, it's like how you're living, how bears are living right now is like everything is to please the body. The food, the drinks, like how can I make my body feel better? But you're neglecting your spiritual body. Do you understand what I'm saying? So that's why you are being suggested to have an altar that will remind you of what really matters in this life, what is really sacred, what should you really be connecting to. And that is your soul body. You should be connecting to your soul body and not paying so much attention on materialistic and superficial things that are just external and don't really hold true substantial value and quality in your life. Bears, there's a lot of you that have a bad habit with hoarding all kinds of crap that you have to work on minimalism. You have to work on a minimalism. We have the inner work. We have spirit of man. Exactly. Spirit of man. You're going through an identity crisis. And having an altar that has objects that are sacred and special and dear to your heart are going to help you reconnect. You're going through an identity crisis and you don't know who you want to be, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it is important to connect to your roots. So just because you are of a certain root doesn't mean that you like it or that you choose it. You don't have to choose your roots as how you base your life, but you do have to get grounded through your roots. So it's very important that you start with your family, start interviewing your mom and dad and grandparents about all of the family history. Learn about your family history. Learn about the root of your own culture and ethnicities, and then decide if is that how you want to continue to live based on your roots, or do you want to adopt a different culture that you feel more connected to? There's nothing wrong with that. You know, I've known people that moved to Beijing for 10 years because they felt more connected to that culture and that language, but they're not that ethnicity. So what? So what? Your spiritual advice is to regain your hope because you've just been feeling hopeless and out of character. And I don't think that that's a negative thing because it's just going to give you an opportunity to start over and start from scratch. A white, clean piece of paper where you get to draw out how you want to live your life, what image you want to be, what culture, what language. And it's okay if that changes. There's nothing wrong with that changing. If whatever identity you choose to adopt changes in 10 years, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You're being hard on yourself. Eventually, when you figure all those things out, when you figure out your identity that you want to live by, you will experience cornucopia. I do feel like this is attached to some kind of move. It doesn't mean you're going to move. Like some of you may not, but for most of you, I feel like this is connected to a move. Once you move and you have a brand new routine, you're going to be feeling ecstatic. And after that, after feeling good about your new routine, you're going to have an epiphany about the deception of your old lifestyle. And you're going to see through the deception. Right now, you're in the deception, so you can't see it. But once you get out of it, you will see how you were being deceptive to yourself and selling yourself short. What colors do bears need to work on during this time? What colors do bears need to incorporate more in their lives? We have taking action. So for those of you who are responsible for yourselves, you need to take action. And you need to incorporate the color jade more into your life. You could also purchase jade crystals of whatever color you feel drawn to. There's green jade. There's purple jade. There's more of a whitish, pinkish. There's brown. There's all kinds of jade. And I think jade is a wonderful crystal stone for you to work on during these uncomfortable cycles that you're going through in your life right now. Let's go ahead and move on to ravens. What is the physical work that ravens need to work on during this time? Physical work that ravens need to work on this time. We have sacred songs, needing to work on your signature soul song, your signature sacred song, using your vibration to heal yourself. This is something that I feel has been a little neglected. Like I see there's like a blockage in your throat, soul house, where you can't express yourself, or you can't say, or you always feel like you have to filter something. Connecting with your singing voice, connecting with your soul song. I will do more videos on soul songs later on for those people who don't know what that is, but it's a song that your soul sings that has a unique language that is your own, not one that you've learned, but your own vibration, your own vocals. and that heals the body, and you are in need of healing, Raven. Aren't you always? Raven is always interested in healing and upliftments, which is great. For inner work, we have water, going with the flow of life. I don't really like this card for this reading because I feel like going with the flow of life, huh? Like, I feel like sometimes we need to be a little more aggressive, you know, and make the changes. However, during these times, under these circumstances, you're being asked to sit still and not make any big changes, even though maybe you might be tempted to, you know. Focusing more on your vibration as opposed to making any big drastic changes. There seems to be this opportunity that slowly wants to make its way to you, and it's going to make its way to you very slowly, so it's unnecessary for you to act frantically, or it's unnecessary for you to feel like you have to act on your sense of urgency. Is not necessary when this card comes up. I'm just teasing. I just don't like to see this on my own spread because it means take it slow. And that means you have to be patient. Anywho, what about the spiritual advice for ravens? What is the spiritual advice for ravens? Okay, see what I mean? This is wind. This is... Okay. This is... unusual, but okay. I've never had these two together at the same time, but what this means is there's something in your life that is going to be solved on its own, okay? So there's something that you may feel that you have to make a drastic change or a big move. I don't know what that is because it's going to vary. But here there is the calm wind, and then we have the rough wind blowing, which represents a drastic change. So whatever you're doing, continue doing, you know. You still want to make sure that the doors are open for any kind of change that you want to enter your life. But for the most part, there seems to be this supernatural opportunity that is headed your way, or a solution or a challenge that is going to resolve itself. Okay, and you are going to be happy with the results because they're going to bring about a change to your routine, which is ultimately what you want, because right now your routine is mediocre. Okay, and then we have the deception card. So ravens, you have got to be careful that you are not scammed or taken advantage of by somebody. Okay, be very careful out there, because ravens, you can be really gullible sometimes, and you can just think that everybody is out there to help you, and unfortunately it is not that way. So please be careful with any and all transactions, because I don't like that card in spreads. If it's romantic, then you already know what that means. What colors do you need to incorporate more in your life? We have connecting to your deepest inner knowing. I love this card for you. This is the color of magenta. And when you put these two together, it's like you need to tap into your higher self and your higher purpose and stop trying to live by society's standards. You keep choosing these basic situations that I feel you are so much bigger than. Look at this beautiful magenta. I feel like this magenta is just saying, cut yourself loose. Cut yourself loose of all of these limitations and restrictions that you're putting on yourself. And connect to your deepest inner knowing and ignore all the external influences, because I feel like there's like all these people talking in your ear and all these voices, and you need to just shut them all out because you already have all the answers in your interior. And then we have activate your healing power, working on the color blue and working on magenta. These are beautiful colors that you are being asked to use for your own life. Clear negativity, clear negative influences, clear negative cords, clear negative thinking, limitations, restrictions. So as you do that, the challenges that you're having will resolve themselves as you're doing that simultaneously. Moving on to the next one, we have the snake. What is the physical advice for the snakes during this time? The physical advice that we have for the snakes during this time, we have the material card. So snakes, you need to get rid of all the things that no longer serve you. Go through your drawer, go through your office, go through your books, go through your closet, go through your blankets, go through your wardrobe and clear out all of the things that no longer serve your new identity. You have become a completely different person. You've upgraded yourself. And you have this new style. So get rid of everything that is not a representation of your new found identity, because you have had a breakthrough recently. And I'm joking, a breakthrough of independence. What I find so amazing about certain aspects of astrology is when you surpass your negative characteristics, when you surpass the negative traits, and the highest level of surpassing astrology natal charts is when you don't even identify as any sign at all, because you've already surpassed your own natal chart where you don't even need astrology anymore, you know. But anywho, one of my favorite things to see and witness is when there is a breakthrough in negative characteristics. And for the snakes, you have had this breakthrough where you were working on it for a long time and you weren't getting any credit for it, you know, but then you kept going back and forth between independent, codependent, independent, codependent, independent, codependent. And then finally you're like, you know what? I'm not doing this anymore. Like, I can't keep going back and forth. I'm either independent or I'm codependent, and I don't want to be codependent. I want to be independent with another independent person. And you have done that. You put yourself in a position where you isolated yourself on purpose and fasted from a codependent mindset, and you had a breakthrough, and that is going to attract more individual minded candidates your way. And congratulations, Snake, because you are oozing independence that you didn't have before, where If you find someone or if you're with someone, that'd be amazing. That's a bonus for your life. But ultimately, you have realized that you don't need it to be happy like you did before. And if you're not there yet, you will be there. For the inner work, we have facing your dark side. So might as well vacuum everything all up and get them cobwebs. What are the dark aspects that are left in the snake? What are the dark aspects that you need to face? Are there any others? Are there certain characteristics and traits that you choose to keep and others that you choose to leave? That is good. What else do we have? What is the spiritual advice for the snakes then? Your soul purpose. The next thing is to figure out what your soul purpose is, if you don't already know. We all have different abilities. We're all here for different reasons, and you need to find out what your soul purpose is. It's usually connected to hobbies, passions, skills, abilities, just things that you've always felt that you're really good at. Certain things, if you feel an urge to teach something, that is usually connected to a soul purpose. What else? We have a woman holding a coin. This is usually telling snakes to focus on your money. This is the time and place to focus on your money, focus on yourself. So since you found this newfound independence, why not use it and indulge in entrepreneurship? Why are you going to go through an independent breakthrough just to go back and run to a committed relationship fast like that? You know, with the energy of this here, you're being suggested to to focus more on accumulating wealth for yourself. Pay a little more attention to that as opposed to jumping right into another relationship. And if you do jump into another relationship, just make sure that they are not your main focus, because you do not want to be triggered back into what you just worked so hard to break. What colors does the snake need to incorporate more in their life? And we have rainbow, connecting to the spirit in nature. If you are going on a date, take them on an outdoor date. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Let's move on to the owl. All right. What is the physical work for the owl, please? The physical work for owls during this time, we have you needing to be more of a sit back and observer during this time. Owls are going to get tempted to do this and that and that and that, this and that and that and that. Gambling, investments, partying, self-indulging. You're kind of being given a little warning to not do that. Don't do that this month. Sit down. Be more of an observer. Don't partake. Okay? That's just what I feel for owls, is you are going to be tempted to binge and indulge. And you're being advised to just sit down and observe other people doing that instead. For once. No, I'm just kidding. I know that you've gone to many rehab programs, so I'm just teasing. So again, we have reflecting, evaluating what dark traits, what dark characteristics are still present within you that need to be looked at. You know, because we all have this identity. Some people choose to embrace their root system. Others choose to embrace other cultures that are not connected to their root system. We have different characteristics that come from traumas. We have self-defense mechanisms. We have all these aspects. So in your journey to recovery, what are the dark aspects within yourself that you want to reflect on? Write on your journal what traits you've improved, which ones you want to keep, which ones you want to leave. It's that easy. We have the power to heal ourselves. We have the power to eliminate traits and characteristics that no longer serve our spiritual journey. Owl, we also have new beginnings for you. You are another one of those people that are tired of your routine. You don't find your routine very exciting anymore. And it's important for you to not escape that, because a lot of times what people do when they're not happy is they escape. I'm not happy, I'm going to escape. What you're actually supposed to do is work on your psyche first. It's not the relocating, it's the psyche work that is going to give you that you are looking for. You can easily just pick up all your things and move, right, owls? That's what you could do, right? You just pick up all your stuff and you move, but what's going to happen when you move? You're still going to have the same problem that you had at any other location. So the observation card here is asking you to slow down and work more on your psyche. Because these new beginnings, while they are valid and while it is important for you to make new beginnings and a brand new routine, you don't want to escape something that's just going to follow you to the next place. Do you know what I mean? You kind of want to deal with the psychological issues where you are. And then it will make your new beginnings smoother. The new beginnings, how you know which to choose is because it's going to motivate you. It's going to motivate you, you know, because a lot of times we will have multiple options, and you want to make sure that you choose the one that is ultimately going to motivate you, the one that doesn't feel like work. Because most likely a lot of you are always thinking about your career and different industries and investments that you want to try. And you're not happy with where you are now, but you can afford to move, which is great. It's great to move. Just don't use it as an escape. Do you know what I mean? Like, deal with the skeletons in the closet before you move. You don't want to take the skeletons with you. Once you start a routine that is brand new and satisfies your passions, owl, you are going to be successful and you are going to be very, very happy. However, you are going to be tempted. You're going to experience temptation. And you have got to be careful that you do not blow your hard-earned success on one little mistake where you could not resist temptation. Last but not least, the color that you need to work on is lemon. And this is also about accessing innovative thinking. Hello, geese. What is the physical work that the goose needs to work on during this time? The physical work for geese. Okay, so you're having a problem at home and you can't come up with a solution because the problem is in your face. You need to leave your home in order to find a solution to your problem. When a problem is too close to your face, you can't see the resolution because your vision is being blocked by the problem, which in this case, it seems like it's your location of where you live. So, for example, let's say you're miserable where you live, unhappy where you live, right? You're not going to find a solution in the place that you don't like. If you are trying to find a new job and you hate where you work, you're not going to find a new job if you stay where you're working. So you need to go on a clarity trip where you just go by yourself, go on a canoe, do whatever you feel would bring you a peace of mind, even if it's taking yourself out to a picnic or going to a restaurant that's right next to the water, and sitting outside and outdoor seating, whatever it is that you need to do. There are certain problems that you just will not solve if you're located where the problem is. I hope that makes sense to you. So if you're looking for a new job or a new place to live, go to your favorite cafe, go to the library, go to the library that has a little outdoor space so that you can use their Wi-Fi. You know what I mean? I feel like there is important information that you are unable to access from certain locations. Therefore, you need to move to another location to do your problem solving. Whether it's whatever solution it is. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, look and search for those solutions at another location that is not where the problem is located. We have thunder beings. Geese, you need to be careful with your thoughts, because if you are plagued with negative thinking all the time, at some point that negative thought is going to manifest. Do you know what the secret recipe is to manifestation? The secret recipe to manifestation is fear. So what you actually want to do is fear success. Fear succeeding at everything that you do. Because geese are having issues with their thought process. You need to work on what frequencies you can listen to, what songs you can listen to, what chants you can do, what do you have to do every morning so that your thoughts are not tampered with, because I feel like there's so much negative thinking in your mind that is not necessarily yours. It's a combination of stress, opposing forces, negative energies that just don't want you to be in a position of clarity. This card has came out a lot for a lot of signs today. Your sole purpose, the whole reason of why you're here on this lifetime, that's the only thing that you need to be focusing on your energy on. Ultimately, you are going to leave your industry for an industry that is going to suit you better, because the industry that you are in now is wasting your precious time and energy. Let me move all these out the way. You want to be of better service in your preferred industry, which for a lot of you I feel is the healing arts or entertainment, and you want to be really good at what you do. And we have two cards here that have the sun. This is about talent. You are talented. You are skilled. You are passionate. You are motivated by a certain industry that is meant to be the industry that you die doing. You know what I mean? I mean, not like that, but you know what I mean? Like, whenever you pass on, the last industry that you're going to put your whole heart and soul on is this new industry that you're going to replace the old industry with. The old industry is needing to be shed away like old skin. So that is why you're feeling so confused, and your mind and your thoughts are turbulent, because you're not living the lifestyle that you are meant to. You're meant to live a certain lifestyle, and you're not living that lifestyle that you're meant to, but you're headed that way. You're headed that way, and you already started. You just have to make a couple modifications and transitions here and there. So ultimately, I feel that geese are going to be happy once they deal with their thought process, and once they deal with getting the clarity that they need from a distance. Okay, so I know it's difficult and very frustrating, but I really feel like you need to go to a cafe to do certain online work that it's like you're being blocked, like your job or your place where you live, the negative energy in your house or where you live is blocking you from finding a solution. Okay, so please go to a library and do all the computer work that you need to do from a library or from a cafe where that negative energy is not pestering you to feel any kind of blockage from seeing clearly. Last but not least, the color that you need to incorporate more in your life is the color lilac. Be compassionate towards yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. the harder that you are on yourself, the harder the opposing force is going to oppose. So you have to behave as if you are unbothered. You are completely unbothered by the challenges. You're just going to go to the cafe and you're going to look for a new job and a new place to live. And whenever you come home, you're not going to allow the opposing force to see you frustrated, because if the opposing force sees you frustrated, it's going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing all your buttons. So the harder that you are on yourself, the harder the opposing force pushes those buttons. So it's very important for you to behave light with your emotions, light like a feather. Light like a feather. When there's no weight or heaviness or pressure being put on yourself, the opposing force just cannot touch those buttons. Thank you so much for watching. Till next time. Bye.